I'd like to have a look at what's trending in Melbourne this time of the morning. Now, Gil McLachlan, the AFL CEO, is going to join us for this half hour, Lehmo, and we thought we might get Gil to just weigh in on what is trending. Welcome to you, Gil.
Hey, Darc, Lehmo,
Now,
everyone.
we snuck Gil in. He's actually sitting in Eddie's chair, and I think...
Feels comfortable, actually.
Yeah, you look good here, Gil.
Yeah.
This might be your transition straight out of the AFL.
If I'm here, I'm probably going to say more than I wanted.
So you've got the sun on your back. You're only allowed to sit in that chair if
I
you
feel
wear
like
it.
there's a lot in me now I want to get out.
Well, we're happy to make a bit of room for you, Gil.
So what don't you like about the AFL?
I cannot believe how many bad decisions the AFL's making. I realise when I'm sitting here.
Exactly. Now, the number one trending story, Gil, in Australia at the moment, it's number one Herald Sun, Daily Telegraph, The Advertiser. Teens' huge lunchbox sparks furious debate. Now, I'll just show Gil a picture of this lunchbox. It is an enormous amount of food for a 17-year-old lad.
Is that a family or a child?
That's a one-off lunchbox.
That's one.
So
Wow.
It looks like it could belong to The Rock,
And
this
we-
lunchbox.
We know Gil
It's-
was running a bit late this morning because he's just packed the lunches for your four kids this morning, Gil.
Yeah.
How did yours look this morning?
Oh, listen, I do my bit, Darc, and
What is that bit?
I mean generally, I'm not sure that I've got complete line of sight on the lunchbox. I know the sandwiches.
Yeah.
And there will be some fruit.
Gone
I'm
out
not
a limb there. There's sandwiches in my kids'
Some fruit.
lunchboxes. Oh.
He's taking a
I'm
real...
looking at the photo. There's a lot in there. I'm sure there's a bit of all that. I don't know if there's the seaweed biscuits. They're not going to go down very well, or the zucchini.
For people playing along at home, this lunchbox contains 2 sandwiches, 3 muesli bars, 2 mini muffins, a bag of grapes, 2 bananas, 3 pre-packaged cheese snacks, vegetables, cherry tomatoes, carrot sticks, an entire cucumber. That's my red flag. An apple and 2 nectarines and a bag of nuts.
And if the beautiful Laura's listening in this morning, which she always listens to Glen's Hot Breakfast, how much line of sight has Gil got? That's what I'd like to find out.
Yeah, this is a very vulnerable one. It's the lunchbox. It's not my strong suit.
All right, what else is trending, Lehmo?
Well, we have got this story to raise some money in bushfire-affected areas. It's a fishing competition that's running for the whole year. 1,000 fish have been tagged in rivers and lakes of East Gippsland and northeast Victoria. The first 10 tagged fish that are caught get $10,000.
So golden fish with a golden tag
Yes.
on it. Now, Gil was
Well,
spotted in the bay, wasn't he, Ed?
Absolutely. Gil and his son Sid were out there fishing non-stop throughout the summer. Three cheers for Gil too. He's father of the year down this year. He was out there
I
all
can
the
tell
time.
you what, the $10,000 was pretty safe with Sid and I out there. I actually had the good fortune a couple of years ago. I went fishing in the Tiwi Islands, barramundi fishing, and they'd ran a similar competition. It was huge, but it was actually for one of the fish was tagged with $1 million. It was a NT tourism thing. It was
really?
it was actually a hugely successful promotion, I think.
I hope this
Again,
works.
the barramundi was safe.
Yeah, right. I hope this works for East Gippsland. It's going to cost $500,000. I thought, gee, that's a lot of money to spend on this. But did you know the fishing industry brings in $600 million into that region every year? Money very well spent there on that. And plus, it gives you a good excuse to get out of the house. If you can say to your other half, I could win 10 grand here.
If they tagged a very small puffer fish, then I'm a chance.
Hey, this story's trending as well, Rosie. It was an idea launched yesterday on the show around the MCG.
If we had in the next 10 years, an MCG that had a roof on it, but also a roof over the concourse area on the outside of the MCG, so they can fully walk around so that you never get wet or you get your head burnt off in the middle of summer. You can have everything and you never have to worry about the elements again in Melbourne, but at the same time, not have it so homogenised that you feel like you're just in another indoor stadium.
Roof on the G, Gil?
Well, it'd be amazing, but I'm not sure how. Is there any
I just saw it
engineering
over
basis
here.
for this? I don't know.
Yeah, no, it was over here at Hard Rock down in Miami. What they did is they sort of, if you can leave the MCG as it is for the moment, if you think of actually sort of putting a coffee table over the top of it, if you like, so that you've got the pillars over in the rail yards and then over the other side, so it actually fits over the top. So you're still getting air coming through. It's still like an outdoor stadium. Certainly when the roof is open, it's fully outdoor stadium, but you'd be able to just keep the elements off.
The other one that has been done, I know, and I think there's a stadium in New Zealand that's done it. You actually can put it's like a, imagine Glad Wrap, but it's not Glad Wrap, but it's actually see-through, and it's like I can't remember the technical term for it. You can do it in a similar way over the top, so it's actually clear. You can see through it, but it's obviously waterproof and it enables the grass to grow. It's like a clear material that's actually been used. It's a similar thing.
Yeah, but Darc, they're saying we're not going to put anything up in a public park now. It's not that long ago that the council was putting shade cloth up in every public park. So what are they going on about now?
Here's my favourite aspect of this story. The council had to vote on whether development was allowed at one end of the Queen Vic Market. The Queen Vic Market people are opposed to it. And this is what it says in the paper. The council was due to consider the report last night, but the matter lapsed when 9 out of the 10 councillors declared a conflict of interest.
What's your line, Ed? No conflict, no interest is Ed's
That's
favourite
it.
line.
That's it.
Oh, there's something about this seed. About 10 lines jumped in my head, and I'm going to avoid them all. My in-laws have got a house next to the one Ed's got down at the beach, and we had a long-running thing where there was one of those round trampolines next to Ed's fence. My kids used to get up at 5:30 in the morning over the years and jump on it, and Ed had send very aggressive sort of half Burko text messages going, I'm trying to, I'll spend all year getting up at 5 o'clock and get them away. Things sort of went full circle over the summer. I was there for a few days, and Ed's kids are now of age, and there was party after party after party. I decided rather than sort of, it was very amusing, and then I was just texting through requests, and the killer's got a good run.
At one stage, I put my kids into trumpet school just so I could get them down to the practice underneath Gil's window.
Hey, good to have access to you, Gil, this morning, and always some stuff in the air we want to talk to you about. State of Origin back 100% going towards the bushfire appeal. It's an exciting initiative, and that might have been born down at the beach as well, I believe.
Well, there's a lot of Ed's ideas always coming over the fence, and I think it's pretty clear that Ed was certainly one of the first to be very supportive and have push the concept. And I just had great support from the players, from the clubs. I feel very confident all our best players are going to be playing, which is amazing. And I want to thank the clubs and the players for their support. We'll roll out all the teams close to the time. We're obviously launching, its first game of AFLW this week, and we'll come to that, I'm sure. But the State of Origin will be, I think, a great night for what is clearly, a cause that is very important to all Australians.
And the players did jump at the chance, didn't they?
They
genuinely want to play.
Yeah, they did. And Paul Marsh, on behalf of the players, was very strong. I had individual players text me and stuff, and so I said I want to thank them, and they're really keen to play, and I know it's going to be a great night.
Hey, we're talking about what's trending at the moment, Gil, and the brilliant front page Super League. I think the Herald Sun have gone with today around your launch yesterday of the AFLW expanded teams. That must make you smile to see the joy around the new season coming up.
It was a great day yesterday, Darc. I mean, I think the photo's amazing, and just now we've expanded 14 clubs, and they came out, and they're just such strong, athletic women looking so fit, and we've got the tribalism there, 14 clubs, and it feels like it's going to be a great year. So we're not getting ahead of ourselves, but I'm obviously we're all pretty proud of where that league's going, and it's going to be huge this year. So we've 14 clubs. We start Richmond's in, which is big in itself. They'll be kicking off on Friday night against Carlton at Icon Park. I think there's a game this weekend down at the first proper game for points for competition back down at Moorabbin, RSCA Park. We've got a derby next weekend in Perth. I think we're at Vic Park this weekend as well, Ed, out at Casey. Yeah. So the comp's back.
Brilliant.
There's obviously a big wave of new players in there, young talent. We're starting to see players come through. I mean, I think half of the new players this year started at Auskick. So you've got that part, the pipeline's starting to work, and it's going to be fun this weekend.
And guys, we should. I'd like to just say on the record that this wouldn't have happened without Gil McLachlan. He was the bloke who pushed it through when everyone was saying, "How do we take a baby step? How do we do it? Do we wait years?" And Gil went all in on it, and now we're up to 14 teams, and it has just transformed football. We now at Collingwood, for example, have 50-50 men-women memberships. It has transformed the whole way we do things within the organisation. It's brought a whole new level of corporate support and government support. It has just been an absolute joy and a sensation. And if Gil does nothing else, and he's done plenty, and he continues to do plenty at the AFL, this will be one of his great achievements. So congratulations, Gil. I hope you enjoyed launching it yesterday, mate. You deserve it.
Oh, it's good. It's obviously an industry thing. I told the story yesterday about on last Friday. I went to the Big Bash at the G. I was walking around first of all, I dropped off at Punt Road, and there was hundreds of people watching training. Looked across, I think it was the Tigers, and it was their women's team training, which was great. And then I walked up the hill, and I heard that sound of a Sharon bouncing on the concrete, walking up the hill, and I turned around, maybe my old stereotyping thing, expecting it to be a couple of 15-year-old, 16-year-old boys, and it was two or three 15 or 16-year-old girls bouncing the footy on the way to the cricket.
Fantastic.
It was like things change.
Indeed.
It's happening.
We've given you a good pump up here, Gil. Don't panic, though. We've got a couple of clips for you next. So stick around.
Yeah, it swings and roundabouts with it, I know that.
Now, Gil, the AFL does a remarkable job of keeping itself in the news cycle 12 months of the year. But there was a moment last year when I thought, gee, I haven't read anything for a few days. And then all of a sudden, 10-minute halftime breaks popped up in the news.
Very cynical.
It seems we've come full circle, though, because we're back to a 20-minute halftime break.
What happened there?
I don't know what your point is. I've got an idea. That was one of 20 things we discussed at an offsite. Came back, talked to the CEOs, and it leaked. Why was it considered? Because I don't even think you care about all the words and outs. Their point is, it wasn't us. It was leaked, and because it was an interesting thing, we ran a process, and we are where we are.
Now, Gil, you mightn't want to comment on this one specifically, but in a broader context, with a couple of Carlton players, Tommy Browne comes in every other day, and a couple of Carlton players have a few too many beers at a wedding in the Botanic Gardens. You may be on a Friday night. It's January. You're at a wedding. Are we getting a bit over the top in the fact that the enjoyment of the game for players to be able to have a life outside of it? Does that worry you a little bit as a CEO?
Listen. I'm not going to wade into the specifics, but I do think that balance is important. I think that clubs are increasingly acknowledging that. I know they've made change. I mean, the fact that the clubs now supported a mandatory 3-week break as an example now, and more people are talking about having a beer and getting that balance. So we know our guys are the most, in terms of their conditioning and high performance, there's no athletes better in the world, but you've got to make sure that it's sustainable and they get balance, and mental health's huge. So I think the clubs are more and more trying to get the balance right, and where the line goes, I'll leave it to them. But if there's not balance, Das, as you know, there are other consequences.
Now, Tommy Browne's very excited today because Ed's away, and he tends to relax a bit more when Ed's away. And he said, please, can you
He looks like he's going to a job interview. What are you doing, Tommy?
Well, he's got an extra little spring in his step because it was actually Tom Browne that broke the 10-minute halftime break story.
That was we're actually going down to Geelong this morning for their team photo day.
Who was it, Tom? Who leaked?
No comment. No comment. Commercial incompetence.
Do you know what? He nearly actually said it.
He almost told me. I was like, so I had him.
There are a lot of people in that room.
Hey, before Tommy...
Hey, hang on a second. Now, hang on. You put me under the grill a minute ago, and I used commercial incompetence, and then you kept going. So I'm going to keep going at you, Tom. Come on. Now, you normally get stuff straight out of Sydney, so what's going on?
Never, ever give up your sources, Ed, apart from to say there were lots of people in the various meetings that day, CEOs, presidents, all sorts of people.
Hey, before Tommy speaks, Rosie, we need to give him his proper introduction.
One-on-one with Tom Browne. This is Brown Seat.
The Brown seat.
Brown seat.
I've always wanted to host Hot Seat.
Well, Brown seat's all yours.
That sounds terrifying, Brown seat.
Righto, Tommy.
You've got
Okay.
a minute, Tom.
Gil, what is your ideal grand final starting time? Not Richard Goyder as the chairman's. What's your ideal starting time in a perfect world?
Good question, Tommy.
Well, I like the day, but I'm one voice.
Is it true?
Wrong.
Is it true you're looking for a second in charge? And how close are you to appointing a boss of Marvel Stadium?
Well, that'll happen in the coming weeks. I'm looking for. That's the only job we're in the market for, Tommy.
You reckon I'm comfortable in a suit? You look very comfortable in this job. There's always talk that you've got another big job at a big public company. How long do you reckon you'll be running the AFL for from now?
I've come back very excited. I have no plans of going anywhere else. We've got lots to do, and I'm enjoying it. And things are going pretty well, and there's things to do. So I can't control that noise. All I know is continue to say that I'm enjoying it, and we've got a big agenda, and I'm lucky. I've got the best job in Australia.
As it
How long have
stand-
you been there so far, Gil?
This is my 7th year.
Oh, you've got plenty of
10
time.
seconds.
Keep going.
As it stands this morning, what's the chance of China going ahead this year?
I'm not going to get into the ins and outs other than to say clearly there's a big issue that we look at. I'm getting sort of weekly updates, and so we'll keep monitoring it. At some point, you have to call it, but at the moment, our priority is the health and safety of all of our people. We get a weekly update, and we have time in our hands.
If you don't play the game in China, will it be moved to Christmas Island?
I'm going to have a look at the contingencies. I'm pretty confident that one's not on it.
On that note, I know, Tommy, you've got another 20 questions, mate. Save it. We'll see
He's
you
coming over the desk.
Give him one more.
one more time before we go.
Come on,
Your best
come on.
question to
Actually, I
go.
saw a key staffer at the AFL yesterday with a broken left hand and left arm. I think it was from a dangerous horse injury. You're a massive horse fan, Gil. Is there any chance of you imposing a horse ban on your key staffers at the AFL?
I think he's banned himself. He's been a bit limp, Brian. Anyway, he's coming back slowly. It must have been pretty severe because he's been carrying on unbelievably.
And you might know that Lehmo is actually one of Australia's foremost polo commentators, Gil. Is one of his other day jobs.
Myself and Glenn Gilmore, we're a wonderful team.
Wonderful package.
And Glenn tells me reliably, now he's a man, he's our number one voice in polo in Australia.
He's also been the best player in Australia. He's very good.
He tells me that Gil McLachlan is Australia's number one amateur polo player. It says his brother Hamish is a bit average. It says Gil is very good.
He'll say anything for money, Glenn.
Even
Gil,
today.
what score were you as a polo player? What was your best score?
Our handicap was 4, Ed,
handicap,
and
yeah.
I know that means nothing to anyone, thankfully.
Well, you're either you go from -2 to 10. So we're all a -2. 10's there's about
Don't
10 of
pretend
them
you
in
know
the world.
anything about
Yeah, no, I'm all
polo,
over it.
mate. You
And
don't know.
four's not
Four's
bad.
good.
It's not
Gil's
bad.
favourite topic, talking polo. We'd like to do another half hour.
You can see me. You can see me moonwalking backwards
He
here.
wants to go
There we go.
ASAP. Thanks.
Under the heading of connecting with the people.
That was Gil McLachlan. Thanks for joining us this morning, mate.
See
We
you
appreciate
guys.
it.
I'll see you at the footy.